there's so much that has changed, even from the first season I was here. You'd get your lunch in a little bag and it was sandwiches, and now we have a kitchen and we have a chef. And when I think of what we've achieved as a club and the trophies that we've won with as little as we had is incredible. As a club, it's took us a long time to get the women's section to where it needs to be. And that's fine, but we've still won.
Welcome to We Are Chelsea, the podcast for the Chelsea women's team. I'm Caz De Moraes, and part of the reason for doing this podcast is to inspire the next generation of players, but also give you all an insight into what it takes to reach the very top. And it isn't always plain sailing. Even the very best have had to overcome many obstacles and setbacks. We're going to find out how it all started with the biggest stars from the Chelsea women's team, their origin stories, what inspired them to get into the game, who they were influenced by, and all the stories that you've never heard of. And what a great story to start with. She's an absolute Chelsea legend who's been with the team 10 years. It's the captain, Millie Bright. Millie, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Thank you for speaking to me.
No worries, thank you for having me.
I want to go right to the start with you. Paint me a picture of what little Millie Bright was like when she was like a little toddler running around.
Oh, probably Dennis the Menace if my mum had to describe me. Yeah, I was just fearless. I always wanted to be active, no matter what it was. It didn't even have to be football, although the neighbours absolutely hated me bashing the ball against the wall and, you know, constantly getting complaints. But yeah, I just couldn't contain my energy. But yeah, I was little Dennis the Menace, which probably resembles the way I played as well, just running around, pushing people around, even though I was the smallest on the team. Ironic. Definitely not that anymore.
No.
But yeah, looking back, yeah, I had an amazing childhood, and yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
And you're the youngest of three.
Yes.
Did your sisters play football as well?
Absolutely not. They're like polar opposite to me. Yeah, like literally polar opposite. I mean, we all did horse riding, but yeah, definitely not the football aspect. Not even my mum, not even my dad. Like, I'm literally just, I think I got it from my uncles. I must have.
I was going to say, where do you think your love of football came from?
To be honest, I think at first it was just, I think like the love of being around my friends and being in kind of a team environment. I think that's what I really enjoyed as a kid, is being around people and just having fun with, like I said, my mates at the beginning. And I really had a competitive edge where if I weren't good at something, I would have to keep doing it until I got good at it. So I think when I first started playing, like I said, I was Dennis the Menace, just absolute chaos on the pitch. And I weren't the best on the ball. So that, you know, then gave me the taste of it, and I was like, oh, I've got to go back, I've got to be better. Then I wanted to win. I didn't want to lose. I hated losing.
How old were you?
I was 9 when I started playing for my first team. So yeah, a little bit later than most of the girls, to be fair. I think they were all a lot younger, but it was just the off chance that I went with my friend to watch, and then I just joined in, and then yeah, I think it was my energetic side that got me the place in the team. And then from there, I just never looked back. And my mum and dad always used to say, only do it if you enjoy doing it, like, and always give it 100%. That was the only rule of taking part in anything.
Well, so you certainly didn't have pushy parents. No one pushed you into it.
No.
It was just completely you.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing looking back, is I genuinely joined because I just loved going. I loved doing something that I weren't the best at, but I could still have fun. And, you know, everyone around me was supportive, and I think we were all in the same category, which was nice. But yeah, my mum and dad have never forced me, never pushed me to do anything. It's always been, if you enjoy doing it, you can do it, but you have to do it to 100%. Like, you have to give it everything. And that's always been the rule. And yeah, that will always be the rule, but there were no other. And that's the nice part, is everything that I did was my decision and my choice. But I was just blessed to have the support of my mum and dad through every decision that I made.
But now that you're very competitive, and I mean, you were competitive then from the sounds of it, with is it your nieces or nephews?
My nephews, yeah.
Do you think you'd be a bit more competitive and pushy with them?
No, I think they will have the same opportunities. I think my sisters are very much the same. I think we're all the same as a family. Like, if you enjoy doing something, you can do it, and you don't always have to be the best to take part. But no, I would never want to force anyone into doing something they didn't want to do. And the main thing is being happy. And I think that's why I've got so many good memories of football, because you have the experiences of different managers as you get older, and you might not have enjoyed certain moments, but they're all learning curves. But to start with, for me, the golden rule is you've got to enjoy what you're doing.
And do you still enjoy it?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, we all have bad days, but I mean, at this level, you're an elite athlete competing for every single trophy. I think it's natural to have bad days, and you do question yourself sometimes, like, oh, why do I do it? Why do I keep running through these brick walls? Why do I keep going through all this pain? And all it takes is that one good day, that one final, that one trophy lift, and you're back where you just shake it off. And it's normal to go through those moments. I think anyone that says they don't might be telling a few fibs, but I've definitely learned to accept those moments, and just part of the journey, and it kind of resets me, and then I go again.
I think I read somewhere that you had asthma growing up. Is that true? Did that affect playing sport?
To some degree, but I think, well, pretty much everyone in my family has it as well. So we've had a good experience of, my mum and dad have really been there on kind of the front of understanding first and foremost what it is, and then kind of how to not let it affect me. And again, it goes back to that mentality that my mum and dad always said is it's an option. You can let it affect you, or you can choose to find a way. And it was tricky. We spent no end of nights getting the ambulance and going into hospital, going on the nebulizer because I weren't old enough to have my own one at home. So it was a lot of faffing around, and it's, as a kid, you probably don't really understand. I mean, for me, I knew my routine of when I was having I had croup as well, so whenever that kicked in at night, I already knew my routine at such a young age. Into the bathroom, all the hot taps on, loads and loads of steam, focus on my breathing, and then wait for the ambulance. And then when I was old enough, I had my nebulizer at home. So I was really in tune with my asthma and understanding kind of what it was. And I never ever saw it as a barrier. But there's times when I was younger, like it was really hard in the winter, like when it was really cold, and kind of when the temperature changes, that was one of my triggers. But I had my inhalers and I had everything that I needed. And my mum was incredible through that moment, because she didn't allow me to kind of let it become a fear. It was just something that was part of who I was, and here's how you take care of it. But you can still go and do A, B, C, and whatever you want.
Yeah, that's incredible, because it'd be probably quite easy to maybe mollycoddle you a little bit, and maybe it sounds like you just went, we put all the hot taps on, we go in, we do this, and we wait for the ambulance. And I'm like,
I know.
Oh my God.
I found it quite fun as a kid. I was like, oh my God, I was in the ambulance again last night. And, other people were like, oh God, is everything all right? And I was like, it's great. The sirens were on. Like, we were having a blast. And I think my experience of being in the hospitals as well was, it's annoying that I had to keep going, but it was like the fun side. I never had that scary side to it, because I was always in control. And I think that is the biggest thing that you have to be with asthma, is you have to be in control, and you have to know like what you need, because it's different in everyone. Mine's completely different to my sisters, to my mum's, to my dad's. So you can never, treat everyone the same.
It's a good mental attitude to have, though, even from a young age, that you're in control. It doesn't stop me. This is just the treatment. This is what I do. Do you think, well, it sounds like an obvious question, but I guess, has that helped you even growing up, that you've just like, I take control of negative situations, or situations that others could perceive as negative? Yeah,
massively. And I think sometimes I then end up brushing a lot of things off, and they'd be like, you should pay attention to that a little bit more. I'm like, it'll be all right, like, it'll be fine. So I've kind of, grown up with that mentality, and that, just fearless really, but with knowing and having that understanding of, when it's a serious matter, which asthma is, it's, and it's changed over the years. Like, I almost felt at one point it just disappeared, and then it came back at like a later age. It was like really weird, like in my teens. But obviously it never disappears. It's always there. It just like fluctuated a little bit. But it's definitely helped having that mentality, just not to be scared of things like that. I think it can be very frightening, especially when you're a kid and you don't understand. But that's why I'm super grateful that, my mum and dad were really honest, and I was a part of the journey. I weren't just being treated, I was doing my treatments as well. So that's helped a lot.
So you were 9 when you started playing. Tell me a little bit about how old you were when you joined Killamarsh Dynamos and what that experience was like.
Pretty much straight away. 9 was when I joined the Dynamos, and apart from that, I went straight into a girls' team, which I was very fortunate to do.
Oh, wow,
I
yeah.
played with the boys at school because we didn't have many girls that took part. But other than that, I didn't have to play in a boys' team. Although I absolutely loved playing with the boys. You know,
Did
it was
you?
tough and scrappy and getting stuck in. But yeah, I was really grateful to go into the Kilmarnock Dynamos, which was all girls, and it was just a really, really small group of us. But just really good people. And like I said, it was all about having fun. And then from there, we just, you get the kick for going and training and wanting to be better and winning. And if you lose, you can't wait for the next Saturday game. And it was just so easy to access as well. Like, it was literally 2 minutes down the road. I'd get my studs on and then I'd be sprinting around the roads in my studs. From like, take your boots off, you're going to sharpen them. So yeah, it was just, the days of being a kid. I wish I could roll back the years.
Oh, do you? Have you got a plaque there now?
No, maybe I should mention that actually.
Yeah. I think if
in.
anyone's deserving of a plaque, it might be Millie Bright. Have you been back to see them or see the team, the girls?
I still keep in touch. The girls seem doing really well. They've got so many now that play. There's such a big number compared to when I did. And I think just everything in general, how it's run and everything, there's so many improvements. But I still keep in touch with my first manager because he's still so supportive, like to this day, and always messages. So yeah, it's still lives in the same spot. So it's like when I go back home, everything's the same. It's just the same as 20 years ago. So it's really, really nice. But yeah, the girls team are doing fantastic. And I get so many messages of one of my friends' daughter plays for the team. And it's just nice having that connection back home. But yeah, it's incredible to see.
Do you think back to the little Dennis the Menace, Millie, and if you could say to her, one day you're going to be playing at Chelsea women's team, you're going to be winning so many trophies, you're going to captain the Lionesses, you're going to win the Euro. Like, do you think that feels like a lifetime ago? How would you have computed that as your life?
To be honest, I wouldn't. Everyone always asks this, and I wouldn't have wanted to have known.
Really?
I feel like the best thing for me as a kid is there wasn't that pressure. There wasn't that side of it, which is why I just loved every single minute. And I kind of went through the journey myself of learning to get an appetite for football and learning, the competitive side, which was already in me, but then learning how to channel that into my games. And I kind of went through that journey myself. And obviously, we're always competitive. Like, I'm the world's best player to my mom, no matter if I've had the worst game ever. And now I'm like, Mom, that's silly. I've made X amount of mistakes. Like, it's okay. But, as a kid, like, you were just like the best player. Like, you did ensures you say like you were a really good team player today, and that's one thing that really stuck with me. Or I went and supported someone even at a young age if they made a mistake or they were upset, and I think they're things that really stick with me when I think back to but yeah, I really wouldn't have wanted to have known, because I think that then too much pressure too soon as a kid. For me, just like I said, you got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy it and let them figure out if they have an appetite for it, and if they really want to push on and really want to make it a career, or you just want to play as a hobby, which is absolutely fine as well. But I wouldn't have believed you if you'd have said that to me when I was 12, 13. I'd have been like, okay, I'm definitely going to be working with the horses and doing my job. And so yeah, I wouldn't.
Is that what you would have done? Do you think you would have gone into
I was doing
horses?
that when I played at Doncaster when I was part-time. I was a full-time groom, so yeah, I was already working there, and then I was at the Crossroads. I had the opportunity to sign for Chelsea. I didn't first time. We'd just been relegated at Doncaster after our first game against Chelsea, ironically. So I didn't, I felt like leaving was a bit cowardly, and I just couldn't. I just saw that as getting relegated was an opportunity to play under those conditions. We had to play a whole season knowing that no matter what, we were going down anyway. And then when we got relegated, I stayed another season because I was like, for me, that's an experience. It's a challenge, and I didn't feel ready to step up. I didn't feel like I'd got enough experience. I didn't feel good enough in myself. And I honestly weren't ready to move away from my family. And it was a massive decision. And people were like, you're stupid. You've made the wrong choice.
Well, I'm sat here going, what?
So it was I was at a crossroads. I was like, what do I do? And then so I carried on with Doncaster, carried on working with the horses. And then a year later, gave absolutely everything to Donny. Couldn't have done any more. We had a really good season when we got relegated, and then Chelsea came in again, and then I just said yes in a heartbeat. I didn't even think twice. And then
Were you surprised that they came again? Because did you think, I've said no the first time, that might be it, they might not come
100%.
again?
I knew that these opportunities didn't come. And to be honest, I was like, oh, that must be a mistake anyway. Like, surely they didn't, like, I was like, surely not. Like, they didn't want to come in. And then, when they came in again, I was just like, I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason and your path's already decided. And, you have to decide whether you jump on board or whether you're going a different route. So, when they came back again, I just fully felt, and that goes back to the pressure, because I've always been in control of my decisions and no one's ever pushed me. Like, my family supported me. There's like, if that's what you feel's right, then, you've got to feel like it's your decision. Otherwise, you won't be fully in it. And that I'm very, I appreciate that a lot, because I think it's put me in good stead to be fully in control. But
yeah, I'd have been a terrible mother to you. I'd be going, what?
You're going.
I'm like, call her back now. So you made a mistake. Oh my God. So what was your day like? You were grooming, you were training, and you were playing. Like, what was your average day like?
Oh God, up early, up really early, go and do my horses first. Then I'd go to work. Then I would come back probably around 2. Then I'd go and do an evening shift at the leisure centre, Kilmarsh Leisure Centre, where I was a fitness instructor.
You're a fitness instructor?
Yeah, so then I'd go
I'd love it.
Then I'd go do my shift there. I'd always try and train whilst I were there, because obviously I was only semi-pro, so I needed the extra sessions. I did that on the nights that I didn't have training, and then I'd get home and then I'd go and do it all over again.
Oh my Lord.
And then play at the weekends. And maybe go to the odd show, like, if I fancied it.
But Chelsea came knocking and you're like, no, I think I'm gonna keep leisure centre and grooming.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep, battering my body and, potentially doing like 12-hour shifts a day in 2 different jobs. But I think if I'd have let the outside pressure get to me of, oh my God, you've got to go, it's Chelsea, it's massive, you won't get this opportunity again, which was said, but I wasn't ready. And I know if I'm not in something, I'm not going to be at my 100% anyway. So I still had a lot of doubt probably in myself. So I needed to keep playing, keep getting the experience, and keep going through different, journeys with Doncaster before I stepped into the big world of football and playing with like elite players, which, I'd not had that exposure to. And it was a completely different world. And I figured that out in my first season when I moved down.
But that's an incredible amount of self-awareness at a young age to go, because it's tempting, surely it's tempting. So it's good that you were able to go, actually, no, I need this for the long term. But then when they did come, how did that come about? What did you feel? Who did you tell first? Was it a phone call? Yeah,
a phone call. I instantly just said yes. I was like, yes, like I'm ready. And then I came down, did my visit. I told my mum and dad first. I was like, I'm signing for Chelsea. They were like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm actually going this time. Like, it's time for me to go. And I was scared to go outside my comfort zone of, having my family and friends so close to me. And, I was coming down to a place that I'd never even been to. But I had, a lot of confidence. I knew Paul from Doncaster when he was there. So I'd already got that connection and I'd heard so many good things about Emma. And then instantly when I came, the players, just took me under their wing. Katie Chapman was immense. She was like a big sister to me. And then, I'd settled straight away. The first year was extremely hard, though. Like, I travelled back to Sheffield. Any day off I got, I'd travel back the day of training, and then I'd sometimes drive back at, like, 4 or 5 in the morning, like, on a Wednesday before training. Because I was like, I just need to go home. Like, I really struggled. Like,
you were homesick?
Yeah, really, really homesick.
Just for, like, family, friends, or just the routine?
Well, we lived in players' houses, so my first year I was with the girls, but I didn't know these girls, like I didn't know them, and I built like really good friendships straight off. So that it's not as even if I didn't have anyone. Like I was really close to everyone. It was just the fact of when I went home, I wasn't home. I was just in this strange house where, it was. So any opportunity, I was straight up the M25, up the M1, back home, and then I quickly realised after a season of doing that, I was like, oh God, that's so tiring, I need to stop. And then it's all the effects of, travelling on your body and being able to train at the highest level. So, but I do think you have to experience that and you have to just do what you need to do to get through that first season or however long it takes you to settle. And then, but I was settled on the pitch, I was settled off the pitch. It was just, I just missed home so much.
Yeah, and that's okay.
So,
what was it like in player houses? Did you guys have arguments about who's going to take the bins out? And who like left their plate and didn't wash up. And
the first season was the hardest. I'm very clean, and sometimes I expect other people to clean to my level, which that's probably my, I need to accept this different way. So I probably ended up just doing it all. Because I was like, if I do it, then it's done. And I've always been like that. I've always lived by, if you want something doing, do it yourself. That's how I've always gone about things. So
you didn't think to maybe get a cleaning rota up?
No, it's just easier for me to do it.
Right. Okay. I mean, there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah, and then I always got left to do it.
Yeah, definitely pros for other people. Oh, Millie.
Although G was in my first house, and she's the cleanest person I've ever lived with.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was so funny as well. And Jem Davidson was there, so that was great. But yeah, it was just, it was weird, like being in a house that was not like home. That was the hardest thing for me. I just never felt. Yeah, and then I had a second season, player house, and then eventually I just got my own place, and then I was much, much better then.
Do you have any favourite memories of those times though?
Yeah, plenty. Maybe some for off camera. With Drew, Hannah, Jodie, Brett, Rosella. Yeah, they were like the originals, like our original little crew. We were like Dennis the Menaces as well, on and off the pitch. But yeah, it was, we had a good laugh. We were just, we were here for the trophies, work hard, train hard, and then we used to enjoy ourselves. And we always used to get together as a group. But yeah, there's some really, really good times. Good times.
Chelsea was a very different team back then to now. It wasn't, I mean, now you guys are just on a winning streak, but it wasn't always the case.
Yeah.
I guess, how has it changed, apart from the obvious, how has it changed from your point of view, from the inside, watching and being here, because you've seen it all?
Oh, God, yeah. There's so much that's changed, even from the first season I was here. You'd get your lunch in, a little bag, and it was sandwiches, and now we have a kitchen and we have a chef. And, I think just in terms of, when I think of what we've achieved as a club and the trophies that we've won with as little as we had, is incredible. Like, as a club, it's took us a long time to get the women's section to where it needs to be. Mm-hmm. And that's fine, but we've still won. I think I've not won in one season that I've been here. There's only one season that we didn't lift a trophy. Other than that, we've lifted a trophy every single year that I've been here. And we've done that still with, so it just goes to show that, we need to keep pushing, but actually we've won all these years. And sometimes we hadn't had, it's took us a while to get the nutrition to where it needs to be. It's took us a while to get the gym to where it needs to be. And that's just evolving. That's, that is part of the women's game. And I think every club has gone through it. But yeah, I've seen so much change. And I think just each year, I think we've always been professional. I think we've always had that professional element. I think that's bread and butter for Emma. I think that's something that she drives every single day. So it's not really an option, but things don't just happen in the click of her fingers in the women's game, especially. Like, it takes time, and we've had to keep performing to gain things. Essentially that's how it's worked, but I think we've always had the backing. It's just been a bit of a slower process, but yeah, we've evolved so much, like whether it's the amount of pictures we get, the quality of the pictures, the food, like I said, the gym, the facilities. I remember even back playing at Staines, and then we moved to Kings Meadow, and then we play at the Bridge. Like, it's just the journey of everything, and I wouldn't change anything at all, because I think as a player it makes you really appreciate and stay humble. And it just goes to show we didn't actually need everything to be successful, but as the game grows, we all have to grow and evolve, and everything always has to be at the top level, especially at a club like we're at. That's the expectation. So as players, we always push for that, and we've had the biggest mentor in doing so, which is Emma. She's been, without her, probably none of that would have been possible, and half of it probably wouldn't have happened. So I think as players, we should be extremely grateful of what she's done and how she's really moulded the club to be just as much as the women's as the men's. Because I think that is down to Emma.
Well, I was going to say to you, I mean, it'll be weird for everyone, but especially for you, because you've been here for so long now.
I know, I'm the last one from the original group. I feel all alone.
Yeah, what's it going to... Can you think about how it's going to be when Emma goes?
I've tried not to, because I think there's still so much to play for. Like, we're competing for every trophy, which I feel really, that's impressive that, you know, we're the only English team to be doing that. And I think after everything that we've gone through, and all the barriers that we face, whether it's the injuries and, you know, there's so many things going off, but as a team we don't ever mention those. We just head down, tunnel vision and keep moving forward. But yeah, I'm not going to allow myself to think of that, because I think it will be extremely hard. That is like a big change for me. Emma's been someone that's, you know, I've always said she's a life coach, she's a mentor, she's my coach, she's my manager, and she's someone that looks out for you. She always looks after her players, first and foremost as a person, and then the footballer, which I think that's the biggest thing. So it's going to be extremely weird. However, she has prepped me for change in life, and she's prepped me to deal with these things. So I know it's a part of football and a part of business. So yeah, there's also a side that's exciting for, you know, it's a clean slate when a new manager comes in. It's all to play for. Everyone's position's up for grabs, and then it's that competitive side again, and that surprise element where, you know, it's a new chapter, a new journey, and yeah, you have to embrace that, and I think all the players will. But right now Emma's here, we've still got so much to play for, so until then it's tunnel vision.
You touched slightly on her being a bit of a life coach. I completely agree. I interviewed her once, and after the interview she said so many things, and I was like, can I just ring you when I'm having a down day? Because you've really picked me up here.
She's got all the answers.
She does.
It seems anyway, it seems.
But for fans who, I guess, might not know, what is she like on a day-to-day? What is she like when you're just crossing paths and maybe you're not talking about football?
She's just so funny without trying to be funny. Like, Emmy's so, like, she's so down to earth. She's just such a normal person. Like, you know, all of her success, she's an absolute icon in the game of football, not even the women's, but just in football. And she's an absolute legend at the club, but she's just literally so down to earth, and she's just so funny. Like, there's times when we joke, I'm like, Emma, you've got press, have you done your hair? Like, because she's just like so focused on football sometimes. She won't mind me saying that because we kill her every day for it. But yeah, I think honestly, she's just an amazing person. Like, even how comfortable she makes everyone be, whether you've got a baby, she brings Harry in, and, you know, she's really created a family. So that is why we can say, like, oh, sorry, did you do your hair today? Like, you've got media. So yeah, she gives it back though. So she'll give as good as she gets. But yeah, she's a joker for sure.
What was her reaction to the Lionesses' success at the Euros?
Oh, she's over the moon. She was, I mean, I don't know if she'll be England's biggest fan now. Now she's a rival. But yeah, she's always been England's #1 fan and always wanted success, and she's always wanted us to lift a trophy. So when we did that, she was just like, I think she knows from being a manager and experiencing the women's game and all what needs to change. She was like, you've just changed like the world. Like, she knew that it was more than just a trophy.
Yeah.
And although, like, it's, you know, we've waited for that moment for years and years and years, and to do it at Wembley on home soil, like, she knew it was bigger than that, and she knew the change that was going to come from it. So I think that's why she was like, she was just so happy for us, and she's proud to be English. Like, she was a proper fan, like a proper football fan. So yeah, she was buzzing for us all.
And I'm going to take you back there because I can't speak to you and obviously not go through that moment. I know you're probably bored of people asking you about it.
Never, ask me again.
But yeah, I mean, talk me through before the match, what was going through your mind, and then during, and then at what moment did you go, oh my God, we've done this?
Yeah. It's crazy because the whole tournament we were literally in a bubble. Like, we had a #1 rule, which was nothing gets in and nothing gets out. And we were like, if we want to be successful, that's what we have to do. And I think the biggest thing is our mentality was to be the best that we could be. Okay. Remove everything else. Like, be the best that we can be on every single day, every single session, every single game. We stick together, and we were just so tunnel vision. It was day by day. That's how we dealt with it. We didn't look too far ahead. We just stayed in the moment, and that was the biggest thing. And I remember Leah actually wrote me a note, because we said right at the beginning, we literally looked at each other and said, we're going to make sure we tick every single box and we do everything that we can possibly do, so that when we get to the end, we can say, regardless of the outcome, like, we did everything. Okay. So she wrote me a note the night before, which was like really, really nice. Like, really like heartwarming, and I was like, oh my God, like that was giving me goosebumps. I was like, crap, we're here, like the final's here. And then me and Rachel were just sat, obviously every night we'd have like a little debrief like on the day, and we'd have a cup of tea, and we sat there and we were just like, oh my God, we could be like European champions tomorrow. And it was just so like weird, because it was just like tomorrow we're just playing in the biggest game of our careers like ever, and for the country. And it was just so bizarre. And then we were like, what if we win? Like, what do we do? What happens? Like, we were just like, it was like so not natural for us at all. And then we were like, no, like, we're fine. We know what to do with footballers. We've been doing this a long time. We kept like bringing ourselves like back down to earth a little bit. And then we just said like, let's just go and have fun and enjoy it. And yeah, we were just happy as well, like best friends, being able to live in that moment. Yeah. And we actually said like, oh my God, our kids in the future, we can say, oh, like, we were best friends and we played in the final together and we lifted the trophy, and we were like going through all these different scenarios. And then we was like, regardless, even if we don't win, we're really proud, like we're going to give it everything. And then the game came, and honestly, it was just a normal day. Like, we were really good as a team at letting everyone do their individual thing. And if you needed to put your earphones in and get in your own world, that was absolutely fine. If you wanted to dance around the change room, that was fine. It was whatever you needed to do to be ready for that game. Starter, finisher, whatever. We were really good at recognising that. And it honestly was just like so relaxed, like leading up to it. Leading up to every game, to be honest, it was really, really relaxed, but the final especially. And then we went out, and I think it was extra time, and there was like 10 minutes to go, and I was like, oh my God, we've done it. We've done it. Leah was like, keep the ball up there. Do not let it come down. I was like, oh my God, we've done it. We've done it. And that's all I kept saying in my head. Like, it was just wild. Even though there was 10 minutes left, I was like, we just knew, like, there was just something inside us that knew that we'd won the game, like, we'd won the Euros.
Wow.
It was, like, incredible. Like, if I could go back to one moment, I'd always pick that moment.
When you were saying that you created this bubble and you wouldn't let anything in or out, is that also like media? Were you guys not reading anything? Were you not maybe talking? Is that what you meant mentality-wise? It was all like...
Well, every player had a different... So before tournaments, like, you can decide, are you going to stay on social media? Are you going to stay off it? Are you going to be on it but don't post? Like, there were so many different options. I personally come off for every tournament.
Okay.
I've just always done that, and I just think it's the best decision for that, mate. I'm totally zoned in. There's always going to be opinions, maybe good, maybe bad. And even if they're good, sometimes that can be overconfident. Like, it can overfill you, like, with confidence. Or it can be the opposite side, which is super negative and completely suck all the confidence out of you. So every player chooses, you know, their own decision. Mine is to come off it, but it's just also like, even that, if someone that's on social media, say you're on it and you read a comment that's negative, you don't then go and share it to the group. That's the rule.
Right. Okay.
Like, so that's not getting into our circle, and equally nothing's getting out. And even things about when family and friends visit and what's best for the group, what's going to keep us in the right frame of mind. There were so many different details that were like thought of and taken care of, that we all really like just agreed that we're all in for whatever is the best decision to get us to the final and get us over that line, and we lift that trophy, which was the best like togetherness I've ever come across.
And this podcast is obviously about the fans, and it's about Chelsea fans, but it's also just, it's about England fans. It's about all the fans, everyone who loves football. And I guess playing in the Euros, did you feel the togetherness? Because as a fan, we were like so behind all of you. We were so excited. It was like the dream. We were like, the men have got us so far, and then they don't do it, and we were just like, oh my God, we're at the final. Did you feel that from the fans?
Yeah, we had a bit of a different, especially if you weren't on social media. Like, for me, I almost got to relive the Euros twice. So when I finally came back on, like, we weren't aware of like everything that was happening in the streets. Like, I feel like experiencing a tournament as a fan is completely different to a player, because we're in this tiny little bubble where we're like, we see all the fans arriving as we're on the coach, like, and they're all there, and we're like, oh my God, the crowd is incredible. We see the atmosphere at the games, but we don't see everyone in the pubs. We don't see everyone in the streets. We don't see the flags. You see like pictures, but I don't think you can truly like embrace it when you're a player. So I do think actually I'm really excited to experience that when I do retire, and I want to be like a fan at like a massive, massive game. But when you come out of the Euros, this bubble is burst and you're back to normality, and then it's like, whoa, like it just hits you, and then you go back on social media and you see all the videos, so you get to like relive it twice. And I feel like I've done that at every single tournament, regardless of the outcome. Like the support has been phenomenal, and our fans are always like incredible. And I came back to like letters from the kids hung in the trees. Like, to be fair, my neighbourhood is amazing because they don't post anything through the letterbox. Like, parents must tell the kids, like, don't go and knock on the door, like, don't. And I'm like, oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
So like someone had got the whole neighbourhood had got a massive print out of us lifting the trophy at Wembley, and it was like, congrats to our Lionesses. So I came driving back, and that was like, I was like, that is insane. So I collected that. I was like, do you mind if I take it? Like, I was like, who did this? Like, I need to say thank you. So I collected that, and then there were like England flags in the trees. Like, they were like, kids had like wrote me letters and painted me pictures and put them in. So I was like going around collecting them like all out the tree. So yeah, it was coming out was like, that's when you realise. We obviously knew the support was incredible. Like, you get family telling you like what's going off, but it's not until you see like the videos. Like Box Park was like, I remember I saw a video of that, and that just stuck in my mind. Like, people were crying, like the emotions.
I'm getting emotional listening to you getting notes off the trees.
Yeah, that was really cute. I was like, my heart was like melting. I was like, the kids are so sweet. I've still got every single one of them. And yeah, just coming back, that was like when it like hits you, and you're like, whoa, like we did like change a nation. Like, it's completely like, and almost like got everyone, gained new like fans, new followers of the game, and almost like a new love for the sport. I think because it was so like safe but energetic at our games that we gained so many new people. And that's the one thing that the feedback is, you know, it was so safe. Like, even a sold out Wembley, like everyone was safe. The atmosphere was ridiculous. Like, I remember when we played at Brighton as well, that atmosphere was incredible. But yeah, I just think we gained so many new fans from the Euros and just a new love for the sport. And yeah, we have such a good connection with our fans that it's more than just them turning up. Like, we genuinely are there playing for the fans. So it was incredible.
I mean, it's definitely a moment in history that maybe it's difficult to really grasp now.
Yeah.
And it will be an 85-year-old Millie Bright that will look back and know, like,
all crippled,
truly what you guys achieved. But have you managed to see, I guess, what Emma knew you guys did and what happened? Have you managed to see the kind of change, especially in women's football after
the amount of changes that came after that, the amount of messages that us as players, we were like, oh my god, there's so many people messaging saying my daughter wants to take part now, she's signed for a local team. And it's messages like that's what we want. Like, we want people to have the confidence to then go and try it. Like, even if you don't know if that's what you want to do, like, just go and be confident enough to step out into a different different situation. And we want as many young girls to take part as we can, and to have that competitiveness and, you know, that fire in the belly to go on and play for your country, or play in tournaments, play for your local team, and, you know, maybe go and make it professional. But yeah, you definitely see now like what we actually did achieve. And it takes a while, because coming out was a whirlwind. Like, we went into the Euros in one state and we came out in a whole different world. So it was hard to like adapt. But yeah, it's just, I always say football's so powerful, because the change that you can make is so like, you can influence so many people in such a good way. That's one of our rules as Lionesses. Like, we want to change the world, and we want to make it a better place through football, and to give everyone an opportunity to be whatever they want to be.
Because I know that when I was growing up, and maybe when you were growing up, the football idols were predominantly male.
Yeah.
But now they've got Millie Brights, they've got Frank Kirby's, they've got all these big names that are women, and it's this representation that they're going, oh well, Millie's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like Millie, I could do it.
That is
from
the
up
main
north.
thing. You need to see it to believe it, and then you need to, once you've done that, then you can dream it. But it's hard to tell people they can do something and go on and be something if it's never visible and they can't ever see it, which is, you know, that was half the problem when we were growing up. That just wasn't there. And I think that's why it's so important for us to keep being successful, which we want to be, of course, but it's also to show that it can happen. And with that comes change. And, you know, it shouldn't always have to be a fight for silverware before something changes. However, that is the situation that we're in. But hopefully the next generation aren't in that situation. That's the ultimate goal, is to get it to a place where they've got everything that they need, but whilst being humble. And I think the biggest thing in the game for me is the people that we are. I think that's why we're so relatable and why we have such a strong connection with the fans, is because we're just really good people that want to make a difference through something that we love doing and we want to be the best at. So hopefully, I mean, I feel like we're doing a good job so far.
Yeah. An amazing job. Can I ask who was there watching you? Was your fiance? Congratulations.
Yes, my fiance was there. That's really weird saying that.
Does it? Do you call him your fiance?
No, just call him Levi. It probably gets all awkward if I said that. He'd be like, why are you saying that in public? Like, just call me Levi. But yeah, I had a massive group there at the final. And that was the best thing, is being able to finish the game and look up to them and then be there. Like, I went through the railings. Wembley's really hard to get like to the first layer of fans. You have to go like through these railings. So I was like squeezing through a gap. It weren't the most comfortable thing. And then I obviously gave my mum and dad a hug and a kiss. And yeah, that was like a moment that and someone got it on video and I was like, that is like a core memory for life. Yeah. Like, it was just like incredible. And then the after party was even better. So
that's for off camera.
I'm happy to share. I've shared a few videos from the party, but yeah, it was so nice, like what England did and just arranging that so that fans could be there and embrace that moment with us, because you know it's a moment for a lifetime. You never know if you'll get that again.
Oh, Millie, I could talk. I'm going to say exactly what I said. I could talk to you all night. I can though. There's so much more I want to ask you. I want to ask what you're going to do next. I want to ask about your wedding. I want to ask about your sisters, your mum. You have been an absolutely phenomenal guest. I mean, when we say Chelsea women's team, we think Millie Bright, don't we? I mean, you're as old as the furniture in this team. Like you're an original.
Better
you're
have a statue when I leave when I'm finished.
Well, let's try and work on the plaque first at Dynamo's. And then we can talk statue at Chelsea.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds good to me.
Listen, thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me.
I hope I speak to you again before the end of the season.
Yeah, I'll tell them to get me back on, don't worry.
Yes.
No worries.
Very good. Thank you for listening to We Are Chelsea. We'll be speaking in depth to other Chelsea players in this series and also have post-match episodes with the players themselves. So subscribe to the feed and give us a review. There will also be video content from the show across all of Chelsea's social media channels, and we'll see you next time.